show, you guys. This is Unplug. My name is Victoria Oyebade, and today on the show, I'm here with, and we're going to be chatting living a purposeful life. A purpose is something that we are mostly been puzzled about in our lives, about our lives. But now, in this show today, here with Blessed, we are going to be debunking some of those things and chatting a bit about living a purposeful life. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to the show. This is still Unplugged, and today we'll be discussing chatting living a purposeful life with our guest, Blessed Oladoji. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's
Yes.
a great privilege.
I know, right? So let me just say this for people who are watching. Okay, we have had this conversation like a million times, but for your sake, we're going to be having it again because it is so. But purpose is something that there's so many puzzling questions about it, and as you're asking one question, it's birthing another question.
Exactly.
Do you understand? So I think that the first question I always end up asking you is it about being something or is it about doing something? Because I find like sometimes it may be intertwined. It may be in the process of doing something that you now become something, and sometimes it's because you have to first of all embody something as you do it. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, what do you think purpose is? Do you think it's first of all about being something, or do you think it's about doing
Doing
something?
something. Okay, so I would say ultimately, like the end. Purpose is about being something ultimately. And just like you have said, you can be doing something and in the process discover, okay, and then become something in that process. But I will not be lost in the activities, beyond knowing that okay, there's something I am meant to become, or there's something or there's someone I am becoming beyond all that I am doing. So, for example, purpose is actually a very, very vital question that humans everywhere we tend to ask. I think one of the very, very key questions that signifies intelligence actually is where they will tell you that when somebody tells you to do something, don't just go and do it. Ask them why. Why should you do it? Why should you not do it? And everything like that. So humans are always being asked to ask the question why. So every time we are doing something, our parents tell us to do something, our bosses tell us to do something, or our friends tell us to do something, or we see something, we ask, why did that man behave that way? Why did he act that way? Why are you asking me to do this? Why are you asking me to not do that? At the very important time? And then we even often ask ourselves to that, why exactly am I here?
Yeah.
And then the next thing that we tend to look is, okay, what are the things I'm presently doing? And the reason why it's beyond doing something is because the things that we're presently doing might just be pointers, might not fully capture what and who we are or who we are becoming. Because looking at someone that maybe is into tech or something like that, and then you ask him, okay, what are you presently doing? And then you go, okay, I'm doing this, I'm running trainings for people here and there, trying to empower them. What are you becoming is quite different from who or what he's presently doing. So ultimately, in the process of doing, we get to become something. So, but then there are people also too that get to know that okay, this is who I am meant to become, and they can do things towards it.
So there's no exact
So
blueprint.
there's no exact, but ultimately, whatever it is we are doing is towards becoming something. Because we have many people in society that they just bear the name. Yes, they just bear the name. Okay, I am the governor of this, I am the CEO of this company. And then in terms of the responsibilities, in terms of why we have that thing in the first place, they are not really carrying it out. So I can go around shouting that okay, my purpose is to, my purpose is to, my purpose is to. Like many people do, I try. But then by the time you check their lives, what are they doing? Who are they becoming? It's nothing like what they are saying. So,
It's so interesting because I have so many questions flying in my head right now. But one thing I want us to now talk about now is there have been so many books that talk about why am I here on earth, what am I supposed to be doing, what is exactly my purpose, blah blah blah. And we kind of categorize those books into self-help books. Do you think purpose is something that you can discover by yourself, only by yourself, or because I like God and God is my whole life? and you just need to talk about it? Or do you think purpose is something that can be done outside of work? Because actually, let's be honest, there are people who actually found purpose. They know there's just that knowing it, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? But they are not exactly spiritual people. Yes. So, do you think purpose is something that you can discover only by yourself, for yourself, by yourself, or it is something that God has to, you have to find God to find God?
So thank God for that perspective actually. Okay, so imagine I wanted to say thank you, I said thank God. So we are both equal on that ground. Yeah, about God actually. We cannot leave God outside of the circle. In fact, it's the circle. So we are just privileged to be within the circle. So more let's take it this way. I have a phone, and the best person to tell me what I'm meant to use the phone for, or what the phone is meant to be used for, what the phone is meant to do, is the manufacturer of the phone. Yes. So I can, let me use a fan, or let me use a car for example. I can basically just look at any car, maybe just a normal compatible vehicle, and just, it has four tires, it has the steering wheel, it has a bonnet, it has a place, maybe a trunk at the back, and everything like that. It has seats for people to, and maybe it's meant to be used to carry goods from point A to point B. So it will all just be a guessing game. We will all just be guessing. I can basically look at the parts of a car and begin to guess at what that car is meant to do. And I might be correct in some regard, but I will not be confidently be able to say this is it until I ask the manufacturer of the car, okay, sir, you were the one that made this car. What did you have in mind when you were making it? You could now tell me that, oh, I only made this car just for racing. I only made this car just for you to park it in your house. When people come in, you show them, ah, I have that car. And they will say, wow. And then, I can think that it's for carrying like 10, 20 persons. And yes, so because there are certain cars that you know that if you load them with too much, you are going to damage some parts. So if I know how to do manufacturer, how am I going to do it? So it's only the trial and error. So there are many guys out there that true, that's why many several people say, what are you passionate about? What are the things that moves you? What are the things look into those things? So they are trying to ask you to do what we call pattern analysis, kind of just look at into patterns, but you will not be able to confidently say this is. But why not just go ask the person that made you?
Exactly.
And that will settle your problem entirely. And then beyond the manufacturer, if I made a car to do something, if the car is doing that thing without reference to me, I will not be as pleased as that car doing that thing when I say this is it. It's just like every, let's say for example, in a home, no, let me use a home. Let's say in a working space and everything like that, there are certain times that you, as much as you encourage employees to be creative, um, to do things with their own initiative, there are certain things that you know that okay, you need direct, can I say, instructions from your boss to be able to do those things. So if you do those things, your boss can clap you and say, oh, you have done it. But there are tendencies that okay, you are doing these things without consulting me. That's so much influence on the well-being of the company. And you took this decision, even though you took the right decision, but the process that you went about it could undermine other things. What if the decision was wrong? So, and beyond all that, he said he has made all things for his pleasure. So, as much as possible, I should be able to ask him beyond trying to guess it outside of him, ask him and also do it for him.
That's very good. And speaking about purpose, I think that one I know for sure that one of the questions that we often ask as youth, as young people, is okay, so how am I going to fend for myself? But even before we get to that fending part, we always think that as long as you're okay purpose, everything is going to be easy, everything is going to be smooth. And I'm going to use myself as an example. So when I finally got into the media space, I thought that from year to year, sharp, it's going to be all rosy, all smooth. But there were days of I had to use my last 1K to transfer myself to the
Mm.
event. There were days of like makeup was not makeup, so you just had to put some things together. There were days of I had to borrow money to eat, transfer myself. I genuinely know that I was following, I was in line. But in days like this, how do we even encourage ourselves? Or how do we even get past that doubt of am I sure that I'm really working in purpose?
Okay, so I think one critical thing I would just need to establish is that the fact that you are working in purpose does not mean there will not be challenges. Yeah, purpose does not negate challenges. It only gives us strength in the face of our challenges. It gives us the courage to carry on, knowing that there's an end. There's something bigger than myself that I'm able to achieve. So I cannot afford to stop here. I must just continue. There's something beyond me that I'm pushing for. So I think the one person that almost everybody in the world knows what his purpose is or was is our Lord Jesus Christ. Because at every point in time, we always be saying it. In fact, down through history of the Israelites and everything, there are constant prophecies about him. That, okay, this is what this guy is meant to do when he comes on earth. This is what he will do, this and this and this and this and this. So we already know, have an idea, a glimpse of his purpose. If you see someone say, I'm the Messiah, you already know, okay, this is and this and this and his purpose. So that is one person that we all can agree on that we know what his purpose. So let's look at him in the process of fulfilling that purpose. Was he rosy?
Oh
No.
my
So there are times that people called him mad, they called him crazy, they stoned him, they tried to push him off the cliff, suffering here and there, he did not have a house. All along, he kept on journeying towards purpose. That was one thing about Jesus. At the point in time, he told them that we have to go to Jerusalem. They told him, "Ah, but you know that these people, there was a time when Lazarus died, and he said that we are going to wake Lazarus. They just try to kill you
yeah.
when you are going to, and you are going there again. Are you sure you are not saw something in the air?" So that's it. Those are the things that can come as a result of trying to fulfill purpose. So it's not promising that it's going to be all smooth or, but then there's this sense of peace, of joy, of satisfaction that come as a result of fulfilling something that speaks to the depth of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that is really speaking to the depth of you. That, okay, I'm contributing something to something greater than myself. All of us have just been required to play a part, a role in the bigger picture. So I am faithful to my own role in the bigger picture, and then it just brings that sense of joy, that sense of satisfaction, that sense of peace, and then that keeps us going.
So blessing.
Yes.
I said we are going to ask about the trending questions,
Yes.
but something just came to my mind now. In our pursuit of purpose, we find that there are people that do something that are similar to what we are doing. And so we now tend to, especially in this generation, I'm worrying on this generation because the Lord, especially in this generation, because we are always looking at the grass that is greener instead of focusing on making our own grass green. So where there now comes that competition. I understand we are supposed to look at, so that we can improve and get better. But in pursuit of that purpose, how can we even, I don't want to say how can we avoid that because it's not avoidable, but how can we manage that such that as we are working in our purpose, as we are fulfilling our purpose, we are not there yet, but we are already looking at people who are, yeah, and it seems like, so how can we manage that competition so that it does not lead to that comparison, so that it does not lead to bitterness or envy?
Okay, so I think every human being on earth, we are unique. So there are no two humans alike. They might be alike in many characteristics, the way they speak, but then when you really check, all of us are unique in expression, in what we are called to do. We might have similar things actually. For example, sorry that I'm really using biblical examples actually. Yeah, I just want us to know that the problems that we have now are not new problems.
Yeah.
They have always been. They have always been actually. Because at the point in time, I was about to write to some people and say that, okay, you guys, I heard that you guys are comparing people now. You don't have any other business in church. You just be comparing people. Say that, I love that pastor. He preaches so well.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
love
see,
that. Yes. I love that other man. He does not preach well, but when it speaks,
fire comes out.
comes with power. So those are the things that we are plagued with even till now.
Yeah.
And how that someone can do that? Oh, I love the way that man does his thing. He's so compassionate. And then someone else can come and say, I love the way he's so strict and everything like that. So we are trying to, I want to be like, as much as it's important that we have people, because even was about to tell them that, okay, follow me as I follow Christ. So it's important that we have people that we look up to, that are challenging us, people that have gone ahead of us in what we are trying to do. And then we'll see them, okay, this person could have gone through this, and then I can gain wisdom from them. I can, but ultimately, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. I can learn from them. We can all learn from one another, but we are not one another. So that is just one thing that we should just be settled on. And then coming out of it, now began to say that, okay, that all of you should be able to take pride in what you are doing. You don't have to look at someone before you are able to confidently say you are doing well.
Yeah.
Because in school, maybe I came fourth in class, and then they are trying to, you are coming fourth. I can just look at the sixth person on the road and say that, well, I did better than that guy, so that means I'm doing great. So I don't have to look at someone before I praise myself, before I encourage myself, before I am confident in what I'm doing. I don't have to compare myself to another person. Because in comparison, there was a day that I was just at work, and then I just saw this man, an old professor, actually, he's working for the United Nations, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to be doing. Then I looked at him and I said, what are you even doing to your life? Are you sure you're not wasting your life like this? See someone like this, but I've forgotten that this man is around 60 something, more than 60. I am just how many years old?
Right.
And then I'm already comparing myself that I've lived like more than twice my age. More than twice my age. So what doesn't make sense? It does not actually. Then someone else will ask that, well, what if the person is even younger than you, or your mates and everything like that? We are all on separate journeys, and we all don't have the same purpose. Our purposes might look similar, the processes might look similar, but ultimately we are not all fulfilling the same purpose. So that is just what I would say.
Okay, so let's now dive into the trending question. We all know how the economy of Nigeria is. Sometimes I used to think it was falling and rising, but now that's falling. Like, to be honest, the GDP and everything in the economy is just something else. Things are expensive, but I cannot carry purpose to market now. I'm like, the cow rice. So I'm saying, how do I fend for myself while I am still chasing purpose? Right? It's something I'm passionate about. Many of us in this generation, we don't want to be caught up or stuck up in work that we do not enjoy doing. As we see, or we have seen that many of our parents or like our grandparents did in their time. We want to do work that matters and work that enjoys. So how do we even fend for ourselves, take care of that, meet our daily needs, do you understand? While still chasing this unique gift inside of us.
Okay, so I will use two scenarios because sometimes situations differ for different persons. So there are persons that on their discovery of their purpose in life and then the inception of that journey, they start earning something from it. Like it could just so happen that what you love doing, what you're already doing, is also something that is contributing or very vital to your fulfillment of purpose. And then fortunately, it's also fetching one or two here and there and everything. So there's really no question of should I be pursuing purpose and money. So there are people like that actually. Then in other cases, there are people that the outlook on purpose is not even looking monetary. In fact, it's looking like as if you spend rather than you spend and you spend.
Yep.
So rather than even getting something from it. So for some people, it's also like that. So that question becomes more important to them. That do I go in search of this? Neglect, how will I fend for myself? How will I get something for myself? So there's this thing like as using what you have to fund fund what you want.
Mm.
So if, for example, I'm passionate about um, raising young ones, contributing to the growth of education in society, ensuring what God has placed on my hands is to ensure that the kids are properly schooled. Yeah, and then maybe I'm even working in a bank, and then I'll be thinking, okay, if I leave and go to start a work in maybe public school or something, and survival might be so hard. But then, okay, so I'm getting something from this. I can use it to fund maybe over the weekend lessons for these young ones, or even gather people and pay them to do those things and just show forth once in a while and everything like that. But then comes a point in time when the purpose expands, and then you already know that okay, there are give and takes. Yeah, and that moment of crisis comes where the question will be purpose or survival.
Yep.
So I think what will determine what to do at that point in time is how far you are able to see the importance of what you have been called to do. So do you see that importance? I think Jesus came to that crisis moment too, where he said that okay, if it is possible, let this come. Let it just keep. As they are passing it, let them just keep me. And pass it another person. So he now understood that okay, well, but not my but your will be done. So there is just that crisis moment in life. But meanwhile, say for example, people go into media and everything that we call in that line. There are certain points where you start out, it's not really so moving well. But then there are also opportunities for making one or two from that aspect too. So that should be pursued at all costs. But ultimately, there comes a time where your purpose will limit to be a boundary to what you can do and what you cannot do. Because a time will come that somebody can come and say, okay, let me give you this money, and then you do this first, and you just remember that even though this money is big, but I cannot, it's totally against what I am doing to do. So it's kind of set boundary.
This is such a hard pill to swallow because honestly, in this day and age, it's all about money.
Yeah, but life is not about as much as it sounds cliche, it sounds like we've heard it so many times and it sounds unbelievable. But life is actually not.
So let's go into the last question. Do you think that this generation is being lazy? We want to, we found our purpose, we know what we're supposed to be doing, I'm a techie, I'm a cyber person, and blah blah. But we just want to, do you feel like sometimes you just want to put in the minimum, just small effort and then get the best out of it? Like for instance, okay, you're supposed to resume this thing, you're supposed to edit this video, you just want to do a 2 minutes work for a 10 and you want to get a 10 years result. Does that make sense? So do you think that we are being lazy in this generation as to the efforts that we put in comparison to what we want to get?
Okay. So I think it's the illusion of social media actually. I will put it that because many times I can look at, say for example, we have the people that are most visible now, the content creators, like everybody which is TikTok, Instagram, see them on Twitter and things like that. And then if we understand the amount of effort that it takes to produce each of these guys, like each of the skits, the amount of effort, maybe they are showing us the background. How maybe they tried it many times. The joke was not joking and everything like that. And or maybe we just try to see the back end of how a common just a program that gathers 20 persons to train them, how hard it was, how difficult. But one thing we just see are the pictures. Oh, we were able to do this program, and then somebody will just sit down somewhere and say, that was so easy. Is it not just to gather people? Is it not just to? Is it not just? Is it not just to? So there's this illusion of easiness or easy or something like that.
Easy to get.
Yeah, it's easy to get and everything. Not really showing off the back end of things. So there's that, and then there's also the many times distractions. Yeah, like there are lots of distractions. Like it's not really as if we are lazy, it's just that we're spending our energy in wrong directions, many directions. Yes, like in many directions. There are times that I would want to do something that will further my purpose, and then that's when I will say Twitter notification, then I'll start searching what is happening in Israel, what is happening in Lebanon, what is happening here, what is happening there. Oh, that video looks nice, let me check and everything. By the time I know it, I've lost the energy. Then I'll say, oh, don't worry, I'll get motivation tomorrow. Let me just watch this one movie. After I've relaxed my brain, I will come back at it again. Then I'll start again. But purpose is not the fact that God has said this is what you're meant to do does not mean that it's automatically just happens. And it's just that we are spending our energy in many directions or in the wrong direction. So if we will be more focused, if we could come to the understanding that the things that we look at that looks easy are not actually easy on the back end. And then maybe if our people too that are doing a lot of things could also care to show us how hard they are trying at doing what they are doing.
Yes.
So we need to really, really see.
You know, it's so easy to say that, but I also find that I'm trying to put myself in those people's shoes that when you are so occupied with work and what you're supposed to be doing, you don't even have time to be capturing behind the scenes because you are so focused on I'm grounded, I want to do this work. Do you understand? So you exactly have a social media manager that is saying, let me do the behind the scenes of my God. That's but I understand what you mean. Thank you so much. This purpose is always a discussion that somebody can have wherever, to be honest. But thank you so much for bringing light to this discussion. It was really worth it. And I really hope that you learned something with Blessing and myself on living a purposeful life. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you did not enjoy this video, which I doubt you did, do not engage. My name is Victoria Oyevande and I have been your host on this show, Unplug. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.